This is Retirement Roadmap Radio with Mark Fricks of Master Plan Retirement Consultants. Listen in as we address your retirement concerns and provide insight to help put you on the path to achieving your retirement goals. And now, Retirement Roadmap Radio.
Hi folks, thank you for joining us and welcome back to Retirement Roadmap with Master Plan Retirement Consultants. We have a special guest on today's show, Brittany Young with Hands of an Angel Home Care. Local to Dallas, Georgia, Hands of an Angel Home Care is a non-medical home care agency that was built on integrity, love, kindness, and compassion. They provide in-home care for those in need and the services to improve activities of daily living, lessen the stress on family, and support the surrounding community. Their goal is to have a reputation for hiring the highest caliber caregivers, striving for nothing short of excellence to ensure the best quality care is received. Brittany Young is Director of Marketing and Community Engagement. She's involved in educating the community on all that Hands of an Angel Home Care can offer for their loved ones. Join us today with Mark Fricks and Brittany Young as they discuss home care, the services provided, and how to know when home care may be an option for you or your loved ones.
So welcome, Brittany. We're so glad you decided to join us today. Got a lot of good stuff to talk about, and this is a field that I'm not very versed in, right? I mean, we're in the financial field, the holistic planning field, but this is very much a real life situation for so many of our clients sooner or later, whether it be their parents, whether it be them or whatever. So I really want to get into this today. I'm going to be learning. So you're teaching me as well as teaching everybody else out there as well. So kind of where I start and end when it comes to our clients is very early in the process with our clients is we start talking about how they envision retirement. You're going to be on a beach, you're going to be playing golf, that kind of thing. And then it kind of leads into the discussion of, so what about aging? Okay, so are you staying where you're at? Are you going to downsize, which in today's world means more money, right? Or is your home now conducive to aging? Is it, what would it take to get it there if you wanted to stay there? Those types of things. So we've already begun having these conversations, but that's about as far as we get. I know a little bit about the things we're talking about today, home care and touching on a few other items with aging. But so I'm looking to be educated today.
Absolutely.
And I heard you're the person to do it. So I appreciate that very much. So let's just start off with very much the basics. What is home care?
Yes, absolutely. I can help you with that. And thank you, Mark, for having me today. So home care is essentially a professional service that is offered to aging adults, disabled adults, where professionals come in the home and they assist with activities of daily living. So it can be any activities of daily living, whether it be housekeeping, meal preparation, medication reminders. We actually can assist with personal care, bathing, dressing, grooming, transportation to doctor's appointments, housekeeping. So that's sort of, it enables an individual to remain in their home as long as possible and provides the assistance that they need in order to do that.
Now, so you mentioned ADLs. I'm a little bit familiar with those. Are there specific ADLs that will trigger home care? Or is it, how does that, because I know with a nursing home, you have to have certain ADLs for certain things to be covered. And people always ask me what those are, and I kind of know most of them, and I make up one or two. But anyway, is there something that triggers home care specifically from an ADL? And that's an activity of daily living, by the way.
Yes. Well, every situation is different. Clients who come to us typically begin to need help physically. Maybe they're struggling with walking, or perhaps they have Alzheimer's or dementia. So activities of daily living may become a struggle for them. So there doesn't have to be a certain,
3 or 4 or 2 or whatever.
No, it doesn't have to be. Some people just would like a companion. So we do have clients that live alone, their family's out of town. They would like a companion, someone to come in and sit with them, maybe take them to the doctor. But other than that, they're able to care for themselves.
No, it's like my uncle, early stages of Alzheimer's. He wanted to stay home, so he had almost like a she might have been a niece or an aunt or something came in, got him out of bed, helped him get dressed and cleaned up, cooked his breakfast, hung around till lunch, cooked his lunch, and then he was pretty much okay the rest of the day.
Yes.
But I think having somebody there, plus we know he got at least 2 good meals and probably leftovers, and so it was kind of a simple thing, and he went a long time with that, and it was a huge help.
I'm sure it was.
Yep.
And that is essentially, it sounds like your niece was a caregiver to him. And that is what we offer in the home care industry, is a caregiver. And if you're using a company like ours, it is a certified nursing assistant who's licensed in the state of Georgia. They're CPR certified, so they're able to really help clients that are on higher level of need.
So that would be the next step after, like my niece, if things got deteriorated some, then the next step would be to bring in somebody that's a professional that can take it further.
It would probably be beneficial to do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
I think it would. Home care helps to prevent a lot of hospitalizations and a lot of hospital readmissions as well. So it can be a short term. We can come in for a few days. We could come in forever. We can come in a few hours, a few days a week, or we can live in care 24 hours a day. It's just very catered to an individual's needs.
So what are some common misconceptions about home health and home care?
So you'll often hear the term home health care and home care, and they're very interchangeable, but they are two very different things. Home health, that is ordered by a physician. That has to have a physician's orders, and that is more of a skilled nursing type of care. And it's typically short term. So let's say someone goes in the hospital, they have an illness, a surgery.
Break a hip?
Exactly. Typically they will be discharged home either after the hospital or after rehab, and they will have home health come in, and that's typically a nurse coming 1 to 3 times a week along with therapy. It could be an occupational therapist, physical therapist, speech therapist. They fall under the umbrella of home health. And it is typically a short-term situation, depending on the doctor's orders. So I believe, every couple of months, the doctor can reevaluate and determine if that patient needs to continue home health. Versus home care, we are anyone can hire a home caregiver, a home care agency, and we can stay with the client as long as they need. It does not require a physician's orders.
Yeah, very good. So this kind of brings up the idea of cost, okay, and how's it paid for and things like that. So what is a cost range, and does anything ever cover that? Can it be covered some instances? Give us a little bit more illumination on that.
Absolutely. So a lot of people, a frequent question that we are asked in the home care business is, does insurance pay for home care? And that's a tricky question. Typically, home care is private pay out of pocket. However, there are some long-term care insurance policies that will cover home care, a certain number of hours per day or a certain dollar amount per day, depending on that individual's policy. So you always want to check if you have long-term care insurance, see what that package entails. Also, veterans benefits, there are some veterans that can qualify for aid and attendance.
You feel like a VA disabled because of service? Is that kind of how it ties together? Or?
Actually, if the veteran meets the criteria, they have to have a certain amount of assets, below a certain amount of assets, in order to qualify, and also they need to have a need for certain activities of daily living. So they have to go through the process with the VA to qualify, of course, but veterans can qualify for home care as well.
Who would help a veteran figure out if it's covered? Do you know who they would contact? Or
Yes, there are several companies that can assist veterans in getting qualified and help through the paperwork process. There's so many I can't name.
Okay, that's right.
But
they can just call you?
They can call us and we can help for sure, absolutely.
So it sounds like it's typically not ever covered under Medicare or Medicaid?
So there are, so there's only one insurance company going into 2024 that will offer home care, and that is Humana, under Medicare. They are the only insurance company going forward that will offer up to 80 hours a year home care.
Now, so under the Advantage program?
I'm not sure which program
Okay,
it's under.
because Humana is probably under the Part C
but
Advantage
you have
program.
to qualify, and more than likely it's going to be a home care company that they determine for
Right.
you. But 80 hours a year, in the grand scheme of a year, is,
Not a lot,
not
but
too much,
yeah.
too much, maybe, 10 or 20 days. But if you've had surgery, for example, or you're recovering for something and you just needed a little extra help, it could definitely benefit. And I don't think many people tap into that benefit.
we'll have to check with some of our Medicare experts and see who they have and what they have
Yes.
like that.
And so
That's
I actually
interesting.
just spoke with someone with Medicare, and she informed me that only Humana going forward for next year will be offering that. As far as Medicaid goes, there are certain home care companies that do accept Medicaid. So what I have been told is people who are on Medicaid need to contact their case manager, and the case manager will assist them through the process of paperwork and filling out to qualify for home care through Medicaid.
Great, great. So I need somebody. I need a caregiver. I need a home care company. How do you find one? What's the process? I mean, do they just automatically call you? How do you find the best source?
Fortunately, we have the internet. That's an easy go-to in searching for home care, and typically it's the loved one of our clients that are doing the searching for them. They've realized that mom or dad needs extra help. They live out of town, or they still work and have their own family. So we often get calls from individuals who have loved ones that need our care. If you're in the hospital, often case managers in the hospital have resources for home care companies. Your doctor, your physician, they often have resources as well. So yeah, that's typically how we're found, word of mouth.
Well, I know in situations with us, we first, because the level of care was not very high, again, somebody just kind of coming in, maybe a nurse or not a nurse, a niece, somebody like that is ask around the family and the church or whatever you belong to, might be a good place to start. But again, when you start looking for that more professional home care, higher level,
Yes.
then that's where all that would come in for sure.
Yes, it is beneficial. Caregivers, they do so much, and they can only do so much until some clients do need a higher level of care. So we offer, our caregivers are certified nursing assistants. They're CPR certified, and so they're trained and qualified to care for people at the highest level needs. Of course, this is non-medical. Home care is non-medical, so oftentimes we team with home health as well as hospice companies, and so there's a team of people going in the home to care for individuals who have a higher level of need.
So we've heard about home care. We've heard about home health care. I know there's also, and we've just heard hospice. I know there's things out there like assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing. There's this whole basket of care, right? And so I guess I'm looking for not a dollar cost necessarily, but the differences in cost, and maybe kind of how it progresses. Don't want to get into super deep into long-term care and things like that, but just what the differences in cost and why you might want to be in one place more than the other one. Is it just a progression type of thing, or what?
It's oftentimes a budget situation, or what the desires of that individual and their family are. A great percentage of our population prefers to age in place at home. So if they are able to and have the means, home care is an option for them, where they can have a caregiver come in their home and help them wherever needed to keep them at home as long as possible, keep them safe and as independent as possible. Families' budgets, they may change and shift. So in certain instances, individuals may need to move into assisted living or a skilled nursing facility, especially if a client needs 24-hour care. A skilled nursing facility may end up being, the final type of living arrangement.
Well, I know every client I talk to, the first word is, I want to stay home. I want to be on, and that's natural, that's normal, and that's the healthiest place, I think, for sure. But there comes a point, and I'll say to them, I say, we've had experiences in our family and among our friends where there's a point sometimes you just can't. I don't know, no matter how much equipment you might order, no matter what, even if you keep it in my home, you may have to bring in somebody to help 24 hours, and now you've really got a lot of stuff going on. So I'm going to take a quick break. Just want to mention our website, masterplanretire.com. Just lots of different resources, including many of these podcasts, YouTubes, discussions with guests, as well as, of course, internally talking about our holistic planning approach. Great bookmark website, great website you should bookmark, masterplanretire.com. And also make sure, some people still have a phone. Yeah, there's still some phones out there. 770-980-9262. Again, I'm learning a lot. I'm not an expert, but I know somebody that is, so that's really good. But I heard a term the other day. I want you to tell me what it means. What is the sandwich generation?
Oh.
I thought it was when I was a kid because I took my lunch every day. So that's not what it is.
That is not.
Okay.
That is not what we're referring to in this industry. In the senior industry, there is a term called sandwich generation, and it's a growing term. It's becoming a very popular term, and it is actually a sort of a generation of people, typically in their 30s and 40s, who are raising their own family, raising their children, and they're still working, but they have aging parents that they are actually also having to make plans for and care for on a daily basis. So we're sort of sandwiched in the middle of caring for both generations below us and above us. So that's what the sandwich generation is, and I believe it's growing. We have our boomers are growing, and so with that, there's just an entire world of people in this generation that they're smart, and they're lots of new ideas are coming out on how to maneuver with that. But we get so many phone calls from people, who are working full time, still raising a family, and they're not able to physically, care for their older loved ones. So I would say we get most calls from families who need home care for their aging parent.
Yeah, I can think of several clients that we have that are that way. One in particular, she was probably 3 years away from retirement. Both of her parents needed care, and she loved them dearly. And so we were able to work up a plan for her to retire earlier than she thought, maximize all of her assets and accounts and everything else. And she was able to basically retire and stay 80% full-time with her parents. She'll still bring somebody in when she needs a break and things like that. And she said it's been some of the best years of her life with them, spending those last few years. One has Alzheimer's, the other one I think has Parkinson's, so it's two different situations. But she's also has a nursing background.
Wow.
So that helps a lot too. And so we're seeing more and more of this, and like you said, even in this office, we have folks who are trying to deal with aging parents and nursing home decisions and assisted living, and still have kids in middle school. And so it's really difficult, but we're living longer, as you well know. And the last, I haven't counted recently, but I've been told 80 million baby boomers. Okay, so I'm sure a few have died, but I mean, you can't drive around the block without seeing a new assisted living spot, a new skilled nursing center, or one that has everything in it. So it's just amazing. But it's so expensive as well. So I think this is a great first step to not have to spend all this money and put somebody in a facility, keep them at home where they're happier, and where people can visit and be more natural, and home cooking and the whole bit. So
Absolutely.
I really do think it's a great discussion to have. So any additional resources for caregivers that might need constant care? Any other ideas that you might have? From a standpoint of who else could step in, or who you guys might utilize?
Support groups are wonderful. I would say a support group, if you're a caregiver, a family caregiver to a loved one that is struggling, and you are assisting them at home, there are resources for family caregivers out there. You could go to your local church. There's a lot of groups even on Facebook that end up they meet up. just to talk, like you mentioned, Alzheimer's and dementia is one in particular. I know of several support groups that meet every 2 weeks, just to be together and talk about ideas and how to.
And the emotions of dealing with aging parents, and then whether it's Alzheimer's and there's that horror of dealing with somebody you love, not knowing who you are, whether it be just the physical effort and you're not dealing with your emotions, puts more stress on the caregiver as well. So there's just so many pieces that come together that I think a support group's a great idea.
I think it's important. It's crucial for the family caregiver to take care of themselves, and to not feel bad about reaching out when they need a break to people like us, whether it be just a day here and there.
Right.
And then there's also places like Aloha to Aging. That's another place where you can go, bring your loved one who needs assistance, but you can take a little break and they play music and do all sorts of type of therapy. Oh. There's so many
kind of like a play day with a kid.
Wonderful resources in this area. We're very blessed to live in Cobb and have so many great resources here. And
of course, we broadcast everywhere, and your area has places too. Reach out again, whether it be Facebook. I think it's a great place.
Senior centers, if you can reach out to your local senior center, they have a plethora of information to assist people.
All right, great. Well, Brittany, really appreciate it so much. I'm just going to do a little bit of wrap up here. Anything you want to add just to kind of cap us off here that you think might be important to hear?
Well, first, thank you for having me today. My passion is helping seniors. I'm passionate about following the wishes of seniors as much as possible, and if their wishes are to age in place and stay at home, I'm all for it. But then I have a personal experience with my own grandmother who she actually thrived better in an assisted living community. So I'm just passionate about trying to follow the wishes of our aging seniors and keep them happy and healthy and safe. And I'm happy to be here today.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you do what we do. We listen.
Yeah.
And let's meet their needs, not put a cookie cutter down and let's just form another one of these plans here and let's get to the next person.
Yeah.
So that's really great.
Yeah.
And that's
why we're all in this together. I love the senior industry. I feel like we all work together. If I can't help them, I know someone who can. So
that's why we love having you here, because again, you have that same goal of you love who you work with, you love what you do. We want to help. It's all about that.
Absolutely.
So again, thank you so much. Just a little bit of wrap up here. Again, our website is masterplanretire.com. Again, lots of good stuff in there. And by the way, there is a button on the website, masterplanretire.com, that says schedule a meeting. So if you want to talk about your future, your goals, your retirement goals, it really doesn't matter if you're 30 or 85, okay? We've helped the whole range, right? But certainly the folks that we work with the most are 50 and older that are aging either into retirement, getting ready to retire, or maybe they've already retired. But that meeting is 30 to 45 minutes with me one-on-one, and just, again, to talk about where you're at, where you want to be, and how you're going to get there, okay? And maybe some of the fears as well that you face in retirement. It's not your granddaddy's retirement anymore. Now it's about a lot of different decisions, and there's about 14, 15 different areas we look at when it comes to holistic retirement planning. And so that's the time to chat. We can kind of discover and ask some of these kinds of questions as well. And then that meeting can lead to a second complimentary meeting, which is where we basically will run 6 to 8 reports for you to really see where you're at. And again, to see what can trip you up. Will higher taxes trip you up? Will losing a loved one or maybe health care in the future trip up? And how do we create some type of a strategy to combat that? And there's lots of tools and strategies for that as well. So take advantage of the schedule a meeting. It is complimentary. It is a great way for us just to get to know folks and find out where you stand, and hopefully we can be of assistance to you. So with that being said, masterplanretire.com. The phone number one more time, 770-980-9262. And finally, I want you to always remember, plan well and prosper. Take care, everybody.
This was Retirement Roadmap Radio with Mark Fricks of Master Plan Retirement Consultants. To schedule a complimentary consultation, go to masterplanretire.com or call 770-980-9262. Thanks for listening, and remember, plan well and prosper.
All matters discussed during this show are for informational purposes only. Each individual situation may vary, and the opinions expressed here may not apply to everyone. Materials presented are believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations can be made as to its accuracy. All ideas and information should be discussed in detail with one of our qualified representatives prior to implementation. Advisory services offered through Master Plan Retirement Consultants, a registered investment advisor in the state of Georgia. Mark Fricks and Master Plan Retirement Consultants are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency.